This is the Life's Journey with Best Friends podcast. Listen as two best friends for over 40 years share our experiences, insights, and unique stories. Hey BFFers, it's Noelle.
And Diana.
And we are back for another episode of Life's Journey with Best Friends. Thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to hang out with you this week. We've got some interesting topics, and then we also have a special guest. So we're doing an interview with actually our producer, Julie.
It's executive producer?
Yeah, sorry. I keep forgetting. Executive producer. So she's got some really good information. It's a great topic. So I just want to preface everything with, I don't know if anyone has ever heard of the Webbies. Have you heard of them? I mean, of course, you do now.
Right.
But before that, no. So the Webbies are kind of like the Oscars for podcasts. And you can enter in one of your podcasts and see if you're nominated for a Webbie. Well, our lovely executive producer had posted or entered one of ours, and she gave us the choice of which one we wanted to enter. And of course, the both of us were both like, episode 2, that's our favorite. And if you haven't listened to it, go to episode 2. It was named episode 2 just
I think
by accident, but it's about number 2. So.
Right. It's what we do.
Yeah.
We talk about shit.
Yeah. Shit talking and talking shit.
Right.
So, so we found out today that we were not nominated. Womp womp. We really didn't expect to.
I feel like it's so hard. There's so many, and there's a lot of famous people that do podcasts. Right. So we're like this little peon in the scheme of things. Right? No, I get it. But I mean, there's so many that are so out there that we didn't have a chance.
Well, and I'm sure
maybe we could do a local Webbie.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. But I can't imagine that, something very intellectual was, not going to...
Like shit?
Yeah, like we were going to go...
shit?
Or we're going to be
talking about my bowel movements?
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a little disappointing, but I was like, okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, exactly. But what else? All right, so let's move it on to our next subject. So the other day, there was and you guys, if you've been following us, you know that there's kind of 4 of us in this friend group. And we constantly have like texts going back and forth and about things. And all of a sudden, my very best anxiety-ridden friend is texting about all of this turbulence. And I was like,
well, you know me, I hate to fly.
I know.
And so they're putting it out there.
And you're going to be flying twice in the next month. So, well, that actually means 4 times. So down and back. So, all right.
Nervous.
So here you go. So tell us what's going on.
So the reason I started to look into this was family members. Lauren, I know I said it on the podcast, was on the flight. And they're like, they yelled at everybody to get in their seats. And if you were in the bathroom, because they were going to hit really bad turbulence. Then Billy was coming home from a batch party, and he said the plane dropped a ton. They had really bad turbulence. Maddie flew home. He had bad turbulence. So I'm like, what's going on? Is God mad at us? Is the world dying?
Mother Nature's mad.
So I was like, let me look into it. So, because there was just a recent story of a bunch of planes that have been making emergency landings because they've hit such bad turbulence that their passengers have gone injured. And
you're supposed to put your seatbelt on every time you're sitting down.
You know me.
I know.
I have my seatbelt on even when the no seatbelt sign is lit.
But they tell you, even though it's not lit, you should keep it on in case they're...
Well,
so apparently no one's watching the fucking ladies.
Well, you got those freaking people when they have it on and they tell you not to get up, they get up and go to the bathroom or whatever. And that, see, for me, it stresses me out on a plane when I see before, I guess, a few years back, when people were on their phone.
Yeah.
And they would tell you, don't get on your phone until we hit 10,000 feet and I see them. Or that used to stress me out because I thought it was going to interfere with their radar. But I now do that.
You do?
I keep my phone on. Oh. I don't put it on airplane mode either.
Oh, do you know I have to put my, because these are Bluetooth, my hearing aids, I have to put them on airplane mode.
So you'll be able to hear the TV or what? What do you
No,
mean?
just so like because they're Bluetooth, just like a phone.
Oh, it would affect.
Yeah, it would affect it. So I'm like,
it doesn't affect them. I don't think.
How do
but
you? Well, why would they say that?
I don't know, but maybe it's like why do the people get up and go to the bathroom when they're not supposed to?
But maybe that's the issue. Why all of these things are having turbulence because everyone's on their phones when they're not supposed to.
No, because turbulence is an air pocket. Okay. Nothing to do with Bluetooth.
Okay. All right.
So anyways, I started to research it, and I just, people are like, why is turbulence on the rise? And to be honest with you, they talk about maybe it's global warming, which I'm not sure I really believe, but so for me, I guess I always would freak out when turbulence would happen, and I know that it really is just like hitting a pothole, but for me, I just freak out.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like hitting a pothole.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really good way to think of it. So,
right, and that's what I tell myself.
Yeah.
But, lately, it's gotten way worse. So I have some articles here. I just figure I would read a little bit about why they think, it's been so bad lately. And it just says it could be the jet stream and
sure.
There's a lot more planes. It says a lot of stuff in here, but it says there can be different causes, and one major one is the jet stream. Its aeronautical engineer and pilot was saying that it's definitely the jet streams. Strong fields of wind. We've been getting crazy wind.
Well, it's March. March, comes in like a lion.
But I feel like we have had crazy winds for a while. Like, think about over the summer in Salisbury and the waves.
Yeah, it has been.
I mean, there's been a lot.
Well, isn't there like El Nino or El Nino? Like,
I think
one of those.
And that I think could be it as well. Yeah. And it just says depending on the region and the season, it can vary greatly in strength. So I feel like with our weather patterns, it's just been so bad lately. Jet streams emerge from horizontal temperature differences in the atmosphere. Turbulence can be created in and around thunderstorms. Sure. There's been a lot of storms lately. Yep. With the rising warm air and the sinking cold air, which the pilots try to fly around. Right. But because there's been so many, I don't think they're able to avoid it. I also know when I fly and we hit turbulence, because they try to go up, yeah, and then that makes me feel better because I can tell that because I usually watch the map, and I watch how high up we are and all that. I can't help it. It's just me.
I know.
And also, the lay of the land can cause turbulence. I know. When Chrissy and I were flying to Vegas, we flew over the Rockies. Mm-hmm. I hate flying over the Rockies. It's very turbulent.
Well, because it's very windy.
Yeah, I don't like it. And so that's what can cause it. But I just wanted to talk about a couple of the planes. What happened? There was this was just recently. This was printed on March 30th. Passengers were injured after a United Airlines flight from Israel was diverted to New York over turbulence. A United Airlines flight from Israel made an emergency landing on Friday after the plane experienced severe turbulence that required several passengers to seek medical attention.
See, they didn't have their freaking seatbelts on.
No, the flight that was over 10 hours from Tel Aviv to Jersey landed in New York after experiencing high winds that caused a disturbance on board. Ooh. So it must have knocked the plane around.
Yeah, it
pretty
probably
good.
Went sideways or something.
You would have had to slap me across the face had that happened and I was on the plane.
You would have been so
literally
hysterical.
I think I would have shit my pants. I'm sorry.
And there it is.
Yep. So the United Airlines flight 85 landed in New York at 6:45 local time after the crew reported a passenger medical emergency. So
they probably had a heart attack or
they hit their head pretty bad because you probably,
Right.
if you don't have your seatbelt on and it
it does.
bounces, I'm thinking you're going
But
out.
it could have been an anxiety-ridden person like you
Mhm.
that then had a panic attack or had a heart attack or something. And
Yeah, so it says, well, there are several reports between they're saying it was between 7 and 22 people were taken off that flight because of injuries, but they didn't, the airline, which was United, didn't confirm the exact number of people. Imagine that.
Wow.
And now here's another one. United Airlines Paris flight diverted to Denver. There's just been all kinds. I have some more here too. I'm nervous. Here's this one. Passengers describe nightmare flight. People bounced off the roof. Felt like it was an earthquake.
Oh my.
This one.
Okay, people, seatbelts.
Right. This is a passengers aboard a Boeing 787 operated by Latam Airlines, LATAM. I don't know what that is. Documented the aftermath of severe turbulence while the plane took a nosedive.
Oh,
Noelle.
Okay, that I would have panicked. The up and down, then whatever.
Yeah.
So it's so funny. You love crazy rides and roller coasters, and I hate those.
Yeah, but I'm not 30,000 feet in the air on a roller coaster.
I know, but still.
So this flight took a nosedive during a flight to New Zealand. At least 50 people were injured after a strong shake threw those without seatbelts from their seats and tossed them around like rag dolls.
Well,
imagine that.
No,
the plane just dropped.
That's like you see in the movies.
Yeah, so that's why I get nervous, and now I wish I never looked all this stuff up because I have going away in a few weeks. I'm flying to Florida, which I think I'm okay with. But
well, no, clearly, if you're going to Paris or if you're going to Israel,
no, but Billy was on that flight home from Florida, and it dropped. He said everybody screamed.
How could you not? Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, why did you look that up?
Well, because it's so prevalent in the news right now.
Right.
There's been a million of these things. This is just a small sampling of that we've heard about turbulence.
Right. So when we were having like our text conversation between the four of us, I found this like literally this thing that
I'm gonna have to take a lorazepam when I fly.
With
or gummy.
Yeah, with a couple of little bottles of prosecco. So on Facebook, in my county, I found this Rockingham alert thing.
I sent that to you.
I sent that to you.
No, I sent that to you.
No, I sent that to you.
Okay.
It was aircraft advisory remains in effect for severe turbulence for portions of the East Coast. And it was severe turbulence. And it was literally in the conversation that we were having. And you were like, one of you or Chris was like, holy shit, oh my gosh, are you serious? I'm like, yeah.
It was probably me.
Because it was really windy.
Yeah. But I was like, I mean, that's local. Those are
right. So,
watch out, a plane could fall on your head as you're walking down the street. That's what I took that as.
No.
Because it's so bad out. And then I got to fly again in May. Yeah. But I feel like I got to suck it up because if I want to go places, I got to fly. Right. And I'm just going to sit white-knuckled and...
Well, then take your lorazepam or your gummy.
And talking to Matt when he flew home for spring break, I knew it was going to be bad because I follow his flights.
Yeah.
And they were having massive storms down south.
Oh.
So it was like tornadoes and everything. Right. And I was worried that he wasn't going to take off on time, but they took off. But he said, and he's not a nervous flyer, and he said it was bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they actually, it shows you on the flight tracker, the flight track that it's going to take. Yeah. And when I started off course, I was like, oh, it's got to be pretty bad. They tried to go around it, but I don't think they could escape the storm.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but that's my 2 cents. Just be careful when you fly. Always wear your seatbelt, even when the no seatbelt sign is on. Wear your seatbelt.
Yes.
Don't get up and go to the bathroom.
Well, unless you have to.
Well, if they tell you not to get up, don't get up.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah. No,
go
you're right.
before.
People do that, right?
It makes me insane when people get up when they tell you not to.
Yeah, I can't
If I
imagine.
was
The
a
flight
if I was
attendants.
a I was gonna say a stewardess,
Yeah,
but
no,
if I was a flight attendant, I think I'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?
right.
Go sit your ass down. I
Yeah.
don't give a shit if you're gonna pee. You want to die?
I
Why don't
would,
they have a seatbelt on the toilet?"
probably would get wet because boys would pee on it.
Because when Lauren was flying, they said if you're in the bathroom, stay seated in the bathroom.
So you to hold on to the toilet. Well, it's so smart. You probably hold on to the walls. Oh my gosh, I remember.
I think I would have been on the ground crying in a fetal position.
They wouldn't have to worry about
In
you
the
sitting
piss.
down.
In the piss.
You'd be glued to the seat.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm so
But
sorry.
yeah,
for you.
that's what's happening, and so I just want to tell everybody this is my tip for you. Wear your seatbelt.
Wear your seatbelt. All right. So my little thing for this week. So this is kind of interesting. So, do you use your alarm on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have an alarm clock.
Okay. Are you a snooze button person?
I used to be. Now I don't sleep. So I wake up at my eyes are open before my alarm usually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And you just get up?
Well, I lie in bed until my alarm goes off.
Okay.
And then I get up.
Well, so here's the thing. Now, did you ever notice I have an Apple phone, and I know this is the same on other phones too, but the time difference, or the time from when you hit snooze, how many minutes it
It's
snoozes for?
9.
It's 9 minutes.
Okay, because I know that I have done it in the past, and I see like 8 something.
Yeah.
I thought, but 9 minutes.
It's actually 9 minutes, and I never understood why. And I was like, okay, there's got to be some
Why
kind of
not
science.
10?
Right. That's what I've always done was 10 minutes. So I was like, I needed to find out, like, why. There's got to be some type of science behind it. Well, there isn't.
So I thought you were going to say, well, there is.
Nope. But this is what Apple, or all of the, well, let's just talk Apple because that's what I use. So call up the article. Sorry. Okay. So if you're setting an alarm on an iPhone, it's one of the most basic tasks to do. And it says, but it also comes with an interesting quirk that silences it for exactly 9 minutes before it starts ringing again. This may seem like an odd number at first, but there's actually a conscious reason why Apple picked this up. Now, my husband knew this, and I did not know this. So, regular alarm clocks, when they first started,
Yeah. Back in the
day, there was a problem. They couldn't adjust the clock's gear teeth to line up perfectly for a 10-minute snooze. So there was the option of a 9-minute or a 10-minute and 43-second one. So they picked the 9-minute one.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the reason we have a 9-minute snooze.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I never, ever knew that. I really thought there was some science to that.
To be honest with you, I don't think I ever, like with a regular alarm clock, when I used to hit the snooze button, I don't know if I paid attention to how long I snoozed for, because I probably fell back to sleep.
But it was a digital one.
Yeah.
So that was different. You could change that on the original, like, alarm clocks.
With the flip numbers and stuff?
Yeah, like those and then the other, like, regular, like, round alarm clocks.
Like a clock.
Clock, yeah. With the gears and stuff, yeah. So anything that had a gear, it was 9 minutes. And I never knew that. So I probably just assumed it was 10 minutes.
Are you a snooze button? Are you a snoozer?
I am, but
how many times?
So I have always been a really bad snooze buttoner, probably 4 times.
Really?
So if you think about that, and now here's where my science comes in. So
why don't you? Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Why wouldn't you set the clock to the time that you snooze to?
I do. So I have 2 alarms.
Okay.
Because I'm always afraid that the snooze button is not going to work, and that I'm going to sleep through. And I can do the best math at that point. I think I talked about this before. Like, I decide, okay, 6 o'clock. I don't want to get up, and I can do this much.
I can get myself ready by.
Yeah, in 12 minutes I can take a shower, and I can do this, and then I set my alarm. But I've stopped doing that, and here's the reason why. So it's kind of twofold. So one, now usually at that time in the morning, you're in a deep sleep.
Okay.
You're in
Yeah.
this REM sleep and you're dreaming. Well, now you've been woken up, you hit the alarm, and you go back into a deep sleep. But you're not actually resting. You're actually doing your body like a very big injustice.
Okay.
And so now that's why you're not waking up rested because you keep hitting the snooze and your body's trying to get back into
A deep sleep.
and it's not able to do that. That kind of was like, hey, I'm like, whatever. This is what got me. I've been not using the snooze button for a week now. So it's 9 minutes. Let's just say it's 10 minutes for
Okay.
argument's sake for easy math. If I was doing that 4 times, that's 40 minutes, right? That's 40 minutes a day. After a year, that's 2 weeks
You snoozed away.
that I have snoozed away. So I'm like, wait a minute, 40 minutes a day. My ass could be up walking on the treadmill for those 40 minutes or doing something productive for 40 minutes.
Or you could be comfy in your bed.
But I'm not.
Because then you're thinking, okay, well, I for me, what I know I do is when my alarm goes off, I sometimes will hit the snooze, but usually I don't because I'm always awake before the alarm. But I push myself to the last minute. Like I'm like, okay, it's 6 o'clock, 5:45. I know I can get up the latest I can get up is 6 o'clock,
Right.
and I can shower and be out the door on time.
Right.
Like even when I'm going out with friends, I push the limit. I'm like, oh, I don't have to get ready till 4 o'clock.
Because you're watching
4:30.
TV. Yeah.
Oh, I can do it by 4:45.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
no, I get that, but what that I was listening to one of my podcasts, of course, my self-help stuff, and my favorite person in the world, Mel Robbins. If you're listening, I love you.
Let's get her on.
I would love. Oh my gosh, I would love. I don't think I'd be able to speak to her. But so she was talking about this, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that makes complete sense. That's a waste of 40 minutes a day. Actually, I'm sorry, the 40 minutes a day ended up being 4 weeks. And I was like, okay, I'm only doing it 20 minutes, so it's 2 weeks. But think about that. That's like a vacation.
It's like wasting your life away.
It really is.
Of laying in bed.
Of sitting there contemplating.
Trying to, like, why shouldn't I just get up?
Right. Yeah, that really, kind of, kicked my ass a little bit. And I was like, oh, I need to get up. So I'm like, okay. And the first couple of days, I was like, oh, I gotta get up. What do I have to do? And I'm thinking about work and I'm thinking about all this stuff. And then I'm like, just get your ass out of bed. Why am I setting the alarm that early? Just like you said, why am I not setting it for the time that I need to get up? Yeah. So that's what I'm done.
Because that's how we were raised. You know what I mean? Like that we started back in high school.
Yeah.
Setting it early and then knowing we could snooze it
Right.
for 9 minutes.
Right.
Or 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 30.
Whatever. Yeah, right? Yeah.
36.
8, 16, 24, 32.
32.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy. So, anyways, that's my kind of thing for this week. I was just like, wow. And I don't know what got me on that. I was just thought it was wild.
It's kind of an interesting fact, though.
Right?
You know what I mean? Like, I guess I never realized it was 9 minutes.
9
and
minutes.
Why it was 9 minutes.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
So there's a little bit of info
you learn
for you.
Something new every day.
you
learn
do.
to wear your seatbelt on the plane, and you learn not to snooze because you're snoozing your life away.
Yeah, you are.
And it's set for 9 minutes.
Right. Well, and I always, and part of that too is like I'm always wishing for Friday.
Oh my God, I said it today in the bathroom talking to somebody.
You're wishing your life away, saying, "Oh my gosh, it's a Friday! It is a Friday." You need to learn to appreciate,
I said those exact words today.
You should
is
be
it
saying,
Friday yet?
Is it Tuesday yet? Because then I would.
I know. That's what I said yesterday.
You did? Okay. Liar.
But yeah, I said those exact words.
Yeah.
Is it Friday yet? And then I looked at her. I go, I'm just wishing my life away. I don't know.
You do.
Because we work so much.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
In Europe, they don't work as hard as us.
I know. We need to move there.
I know. I heard it was hard to get a residency in Italy. To look into that.
I don't think I could convince my husband to do that. Maybe
Go do a dual
citizenship.
citizenship and live there 6 months out
That'd
of
be a
the
nice
year,
snowbird. Yeah.
right?
Right.
Well, they get winter, but not as bad as us.
Yeah, but yeah, he could work from anywhere. I
Right,
can't. You know,
right.
that's the whole thing.
I can't.
Yeah. No,
So
I
plus,
can't.
though, there's 6 hours. You'd have to work
Oh
overnight
yeah. Yeah. That no, that
because they're
wouldn't be.
6 hours ahead.
Is it really that much? Okay.
Depends on where you're at, but they're about 6 hours, 5, 6 hours ahead. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I could actually move anywhere and not have a job because I can't do my job from anywhere.
I'd
So
fucking bag groceries at Walmart if I had to.
yeah, do the Walmart, the greeter.
I would.
Get your
Hi.
shit and get out.
Wear your seatbelt in a plane.
Oh my gosh, you'd be the one with the little kids in the carriage. Put that seatbelt on.
No, I would not.
There might be an earthquake.
I wouldn't be anywhere that there would be an earthquake. I have no desire to go to California.
We have earthquakes up here.
They're not nothing like that.
No, but I have felt them.
No, I don't think I know we've had them here. I just have never felt them.
Oh no, I have. So we were in our townhouse. This was quite a few years ago. I was home alone, and I'm sitting there. And if I hadn't known better, it would have. I was like, "What the hell was that?" It was like one of the kids ran across the second floor, and I was like, "What the hell was that?" And then, of course, everyone on Facebook was like, "Oh my gosh, we had an earthquake!"
Right.
And I was like, "Oh crap, that's what that was." So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever felt that.
Oh my gosh.
That I don't. Or tornadoes scare me too. I don't.
Yeah, that was.
I would just.
Because you have no control over that at all. You got to go into the cellar
bunker.
and yeah.
Scares me.
Yeah. When Emily was in Ohio, they have them out there, and because the area is so flat, the land, and the majority of the buildings at her college, they it would say tornado cellar.
Matt has those.
Yeah,
he has
and
the
it's
bunkers.
where
Yeah,
it would be
shelter.
Where
It's a storm shelter.
Storm shelter. It would be where they would do their laundry.
Yeah,
in the basement.
he said he goes. The first time I ever heard the tornado siren, he goes, they were practicing or testing. He goes, it scared the shit out of me.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I can't even imagine because that's not something
we don't. We're not used to that.
Yeah.
We get. What do we get? Blizzards.
Right.
If we haven't in years, but hurricanes.
Here and there, but nothing like crazy.
Nothing like earthquake shattering or tornado.
No.
I mean, we've had microbursts and small little things, but nothing.
Yeah,
like
not
that.
like a constant.
The E4 or whatever it is.
F4.
F4.
Yeah.
Is it F4? Whatever.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah. Twister.
Yeah.
Oh, we totally got off subject.
A wicked twister.
Anna yum.
Yeah. So, all right.
So now we're going to introduce our executive producer, who you guys have met before, but she is coming to us with a really awesome
Julie.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So
I should be in person, but I'm not.
So I'm very eager to hear about what you've brought to us today. I know we had a little bit of a conversation, so if you can just introduce it and talk about what it is first, and then go into it. So, and then we'll try to save our questions for the end. But we talk over each other.
I know. Yeah, we had been talking about how, and I've been seeing some stories. Gen Xers are starting to reevaluate where they are in life, and we're seeing ourselves taking a pause and looking at their jobs and thinking about dream jobs and moving in that direction. And I started doing a little bit of digging. Obviously, Gen X is anyone born 1965 to 1980. And one of the things that is really different about us, obviously, we're the children of boomers for the most part. Boomers worked in the same place The way that things were back then, they worked for the same company until retirement. And
Yep.
retirement for them usually meant a pension. Great, resources for them into their
Right.
retirement. And retirement was at a younger age then, too,
Right.
in terms of like Social Security and Medicare, but also companies allowed you to retire earlier. And we don't have that
No. There are
opportunity.
very, very few places that have pensions anymore.
It's
Right.
more unions that
Yeah.
have
Yep.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You may be lucky to have a 401k or an IRA that you can contribute to.
But you're putting
Neither
right.
of which, yeah, neither of which were actually designed as a retirement fund. That was
No.
not the purpose of them. They're
Right.
not intended to be like a solid form of retirement funds. And if you were lucky enough, that's great. If not, then all you have is Social Security, Medicare, and you've been paying into that. And that's really risky right now. There's a lot of,
Medicaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Social
Very risky.
Security, you're not going to get any money.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's really scary.
it's like
Like,
I don't know how anybody could survive on
No, they
right.
1500
can't.
a month.
Oh no, they absolutely can't. Jill, and I laugh because I remember when 401ks first started coming out. I was 22, and the company that I was working for was like, "Oh, this is a big thing. When you retire, you're going to have $401,000
We'll
because that's
match it.
yeah, but that's where that 401k came from. You'll have $401,000 when you retire, and wow, that's a lot of money. No, it's not. You weren't.
No, it's not. It's not. The recommendation is that right now an individual should have at least $1 million in their 401k
Oh,
when they retire.
I'm gonna be working for
With
the.
this stock market,
I'll be
And
working for the rest of
that
my life.
exactly, Diana. The stock market completely impacts your 401k. You are contributing, your company's contributing, but if you have a bad day in the stock market, you could lose a lot of money on your
Yep,
retirement.
lots of
You
money.
could gain a lot
absolutely.
of money if the stock market's doing great, but that's
Right.
that's the thing. It wasn't designed as a retirement fund. So, here we are. The retirement age right now for like my siblings who are older than me is 62. But by the time we get to that, they've actually already upped it to 67. So you
I
can't
thought it
even
was.
take,
I thought it was going to
yeah,
be 70.
67. Yeah, it could go up again.
By
They
the
could
time we
raise
get
it.
there, I mean, it could be. Who
Exactly.
knows? Yeah.
So we're in this kind of weird, middle ground place of our kids have grown for the most part. Diana has kids in college, but, for the most part, we all have kids out of the house or grown. We maybe still taking care of elderly parents. So we're kind of sandwiched in there a little bit, but we are not in a place where we can stop working, retire the way that our parents did. We can't travel and spend as much time with the grandkids. It's a very different world, but we are at that midlife point. And I think there is something specific about Gen X. If you think about us, we were that neglected generation. We
Mhm.
were on our own. We took care of ourselves. We didn't come in till the streetlights were on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were latchkey kids.
Drink
We
water
have
from
this,
the hose.
Right.
yeah, we're the MTV generation,
Yeah.
but also our parents, when we were teenagers, if we listened to their music or watched movies from when they were growing up, those were old movies. That was
Right.
Yeah.
old music. Our kids, if they listen to songs from the 80s and 90s, a lot of those songs are still playing on the radio. A lot
They
of those
are.
movies, like
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, you think of even some of the movies from
Pretty
the
woman.
80s, Pretty
Breakfast
Woman,
Club. Yeah.
they're still on TV, they're still
Yeah.
relevant. And we came into an age where we're that crossover generation as far as technology too.
Right.
We lived through computers replacing typewriters. We lived through digital replacing dial-up, streaming replacing cable. We're much more computer savvy than our parents. I remember
Oh
my
yeah.
dad I remember my dad taking the mouse and putting it like on the screen, thinking that's how you moved it around.
That's true.
And
That's
I'm like, yeah,
awesome.
that's not how it works, Dad. But so we're still cool, basically, and
Right.
we're still relevant. So we want to be at that place where our parents were when we retired because we're healthy enough and young enough to do a lot of things, but it's not going to happen. So I what I've been seeing, and even in my own life, is people saying, I need to do something different. You guys are doing the podcast. I
Yeah.
actually left a job that I was at for over 20 years to take another job, which was really scary. And there are days where I say, why the hell did I do that? But, I needed to, I felt like I hit a wall and I
But time
needed to
to get
do
bored.
something.
Yeah. Yeah, you need that change because you're like, you wake up every day, it's time to make the donuts. Oh, wait a minute, I
Exactly.
already made the donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're just not feeling challenged, you
Yeah.
just feel like you've kind of hit this wall and you want something different. And I actually thought about this too. Like, I wonder if there's a little bit of a reaction to COVID, working remotely, working at home, having a little bit more time to think about things and think about what you're doing. I don't know. Maybe that's part of it too. But I think a lot of it is just who we are as Gen Xers, where we are in our lives. And I think we're really facing something unique that our parents, you know,
Well, the
and
cost of
grandparents
living
didn't.
is just ridiculous right
Right.
Yeah.
now. I
Yeah.
mean, our parents didn't have to deal with, you know,
Right.
buying a house right now for $1 million that should really only cost 300,000.
Right. Yeah, it is. I
Yeah.
feel bad for our kids. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But I
And a
agree
lot
with
of us
you
are
too.
supporting our kids still in some
Yeah,
ways and
Yeah.
because they
caring
can't
for, like
afford
I
to
said,
move
caring
out,
for,
Right.
yeah, caring for elderly parents,
right?
there's responsibility
Well,
there.
I mean, even, yeah, think about it. Like our medical insurance, we were booted off when we were 18,
I know,
you
and
Yep.
now
know?
they're
Now they're
26.
Yeah,
26.
That's
26.
ridiculous.
Yep. They could be married and still be on your
I know.
insurance.
Hmm.
But I agree with you, Julie, with the COVID thing. I really think that 2 years really, I
It
know it
did a
was,
number on
it
everybody.
did. And it made you really
Yeah.
start to think,
It
okay,
was like
what
a
am I going to
reset.
do with my life? Yeah. Like, all right, so if this really happens, like, we always joked about like zompocalypse if that happened. Well, this was
It
kind of
did.
like,
It did. That was
that
COVID
was
for
kind of
us.
like that. You were at
Hmm.
home and you're like,
Right.
what do I do? I can't get out to the grocery store. So how do I take care of myself? How do Dave actually, one of his things that he did was he bought a lot of vodka and was like, okay, so if we have to barter, we've got a really good thing to barter with. And I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. Like, and people were putting that on Facebook. Hey, I can make some great cookies. Does anyone want to trade,
Well,
I
how
don't know,
many
vegetables
crafts did
for?
we start during COVID? And like you start getting that creative juices going again,
Yeah.
Remodeling. Yeah.
sourdough
Right.
bread
Oh
or,
my gosh, I was
I,
gonna say that.
yeah,
Everyone was
I
making
made two,
sourdough bread.
I made two quilts. I learned how to knit. Everybody was taking up new things. So maybe that's part of it too.
Right. It definitely could be. We went back to maybe a more simpler time where you're like, all right, TV is boring. It
We
actually,
went back to like family time though. I
yes.
feel like COVID because everybody was in the house together,
Yep.
Hmm.
and my kids just brought it up on Easter, and they're like, "I wish we could go back to COVID times. That was a lot of fun."
Yeah. So, like, when we lose electricity, Emily would always say when she was little, "Oh, can we have a weekend with no electricity?" Because we would sit around and play board games.
Right on the
Yeah.
candlelight or
Right, and
whatever.
that's what COVID kind of was the same thing. We were doing puzzles and we were playing games and we
You
were
just
doing,
hung out
yeah,
and
and it was a much simpler
right. It
time.
was like back when our parents were
Yeah,
younger. You know what I mean?
and now
Hmm.
that everyone's back to quote unquote the normal, the kids are all back out doing their things as kind of empty nesters. You're right, Julie. Maybe we're like, oh
Oh,
crap,
what
there's
is else?
so
What
much
else is out
more.
there?
Yeah, what else
And
is there
yeah,
after?
and we're still, relatively young and
Yeah.
vital and have a lot of interests. I mean, I think we're at this place of, okay, my kids are grown and I am not ready to retire, but I feel like I still have something to offer and I want to see where that goes.
Yeah,
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 I'm
absolutely.
actually ready to retire.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
why.
mean, no, I mean, honestly, financially, if we could do it, I think everybody
Yeah.
would because
No,
then
no.
Yeah.
then you have the freedom to do whatever you want, whether it's
Well, yeah, because I don't,
travel or
yeah. Just because you say you retire doesn't mean you're not doing
Right.
anything.
You're just
yeah.
retiring from this job.
Yeah, right. And you don't.
I have my countdown on.
You do?
Yeah.
How many years?
It's about 8.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. and then we're moving.
I proclaimed 2 weeks ago I was retiring in 9 years. So, well, when I'm
Around the same
65.
time.
So I was 65. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Uh,
9 and a
Mine could
half.
be 5 to 8. I wanna sell my house. I wanna move down south, and I just want to enjoy life because who knows?
Right. Yeah, you don't know. So, is there a specific area that, the Gen Xers are going into, Julie? Are they coming into like home businesses, or are they like starting new careers, like going back to school? Like,
It's a
do you
mix.
see?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a mix. There are a lot of people that are going back to school, getting degrees in areas that they didn't have before, but a lot of people are venturing into businesses, dream jobs, things that they've always wanted to do, like whether it's have a pet related business. Like there was a story about
Be
this
their
woman
own
who,
boss.
Yeah.
yeah, be their own boss is a big one. But yeah, I think a lot of people do want to be in that situation where they're not reporting to a boss. And if you think about it, a lot of millennials are now the bosses of people in
Yeah,
some of
who
these
wants to work
jobs.
for a
And
millennial?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
but it
No,
is a
thank
tough
you.
situation to be in because the boomers are retiring. So either your boss is another Gen Xer or it's a millennial. And but yeah, I think a lot of it are kind of those dream jobs, like craft related, starting new
Yeah.
businesses, podcasting. You
Yeah.
know,
Etsy.
Right.
it's creative areas for the most part, which that's why I keep coming back to the COVID thing. That people they got a glimpse of I could do something else that actually brings me joy.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
And
that's
I could
always
make money
right.
doing
Yeah,
it and not be miserable in this job that I'm working 9 to
yeah.
5.
Right. Because I don't know who it was, and I'm sure we can find out, but whoever it was that said, do what you love and you'll feel like you've never worked a day in your life.
Hmm.
Now, I have not found that
Me
yet.
neither.
I mean, this actually, I would love to do this full time. I mean,
Be
this would
nice,
be
wouldn't it?
so great, hanging out and, talking to people and being with you and
Interviewing. That's
people
interesting.
reinventing themselves. I think it makes sense. I feel like I've been trying to do that for a
I know you
while.
have definitely looking into
So many
reinventing
different
yourself.
things.
I know it.
Yeah. So well, for me, I think what happened was, I got into the floral business and I loved that.
Yeah.
But it was just so much with the kids because it was weekends and summers
Well,
and it
you
was,
just lose your life.
yeah, you do. And so I found a job that I was like, okay, this is great. And it's just kind of taken me to where I am today. It's so not what I thought I was going to be doing with my life. Absolutely not. I did not think I would be looking at data all day long.
Mm.
Boring.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm trying, but it's tough, to
Well,
It
figure
is.
that out.
and I feel like there's like we have Etsy, but
Yeah,
it's so flooded
it's
with stuff,
saturated. Yes, absolutely.
and it's hard to break into that.
Yep.
You have to have this really cool niche,
Yep.
and it's just hard to find
Yeah.
that to come up with that.
It is.
You ever drive past like an open storefront that's for lease and kind of your mind starts to think
Oh
about
my
what
god,
could
I
I
did
put
that
in there?
today.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
do it all the
So,
time.
I did that
yes.
today. It was an ambulance, an old. It's for lease, and it was a 2-bay ambulance house. I guess that's what
Okay.
garage. I don't know. And
Yeah.
I drove by there, and I'm like, oh, that would be a cool building. Like you could maybe turn it into a small little restaurant or bar and open up those
Yeah.
doors, or just maybe an ice cream store.
So it's funny that you say that. So there's this little axe throwing place in our town. This guy owns a garage, and on one he had 4 doors, and on one side he fixes things, and on the other side he created a little bar with axe throwing, and he can open the doors on a nice day, and he's got a very
That's a
limited
great
menu, but it's
idea.
perfect and it's fun, and I'm like,
Why
once
didn't
you
we
said
come
that,
up with
yeah,
that? Right?
why didn't I think of that? So Julie, I can tell you a prime example of that. I remember a long time ago you and I talked about opening up like a basket place of
Yep.
gift baskets. And you said we should name it Basket Cases. And all I could think of was this horror movie. And I was like, no. I'm like, that's a
I
horrible name. Do you know that there's a very successful company now called Boston basket cases that
That's
does
Really?
so
that.
funny.
Yes. And I was like,
That's so funny.
oh, I'm an asshole. I should.
Well,
That's
when
so
the Park Theater was closing, for those that don't know what I'm talking about, the Park Theater was a movie theater in Everett on Ferry Street. And we went there, it was like 75 cents to watch 2 movies. And they were,
Yep.
usually crappy movies, but everybody went. So I had a dream about that I had turned that into, and this was in the late 80s, early 90s that I had this dream of turning it into um, a movie theater, like converting it so that it was a movie theater, but you would have tables instead and chairs instead of rows of
I like
seats.
Chunkies.
That this was before Chunkies, and I
Oh
wrote
my
it all
God.
down. I had the whole concept, and I never did it. And then I was in Virginia, and there was one there. That was the first one I ever saw, and I'm like,
Oh my God.
this is exactly what I wanted to do. All right. So
Yeah.
so Gen Xers, we're at a crossroads, but I think it's exciting. I
is.
think it's exciting, and we'll
And I
see.
think
We'll
it's
see what
very
we
different. Like from our generation, our parents or moms at 50
I
were
can't ever
considered.
imagine my parents running a business.
But at 50, they were
Or-
considered old. It's not that way anymore.
Dude, it's just because we're that age,
Right.
so we don't think we're old.
That's
Well, I
true.
see so many like influencers on social media and women of our age and men too that are like Julie said, reinventing themselves and starting something new. And 50 is just it's never too late.
No,
That's what
it's
we have
never
to
too
remember.
late. It's never too late.
Well, BFFers, this was great. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you back again next week. Make sure you hit us up on all of our socials. And just remember that it's always better to have a friend with 2 chins than
Then
2
two
faces. Have a great week.
See ya.
Bye.
You've been listening to Life's Journey with Best Friends. For details on any of the things we've mentioned in the podcast, including photos, visit our website lifesjourneybff.com. You can also email us at lifesjourneybff@gmail.com or visit us on Facebook, Instagram, or Threads.
Remember, no matter where life takes you, you are never alone when you have a best friend by your side. Until next time.